Four, three, two, and one. We're rolling.
All right, people, welcome. This is Farmer Mark with the Green Gold podcast, and we are here to make a difference with the narrative. We have to. I am, as I just said, Farmer Mark. I represent junglelifeherbs.com, and I have my co host.
I am Coach B representing Crafty Gemini Farms. And my real name is Brandon, by the way, but Coach B is what it is. And we're here, like he said, lift you up, lift ourselves up, and spread some knowledge, share some knowledge, learn, teach, and really let folks know how if you just look down below your feet, you will see all you need.
And I agree with that. I mean, what is green gold? Green gold is what you're going to be able to grow, cultivate, and turn into a business opportunity that's going to change the way you live, change the way your being is going to be, and introduce a family legacy. And we have to make sure that we do that because we've been neglecting to really make things happen the way we should. So I, along with Coach B here. We're going to be talking about why we're doing this podcast and what we expect to accomplish as the weeks and years go by.
I know for me, the reason why I'm doing this is because I have personally felt a real difference in my life once I started to get back to the land, get to the land, period, because I was not raised in the farming environment at all. But once I did get into it and saw the benefits of it, the benefits were too good for me to go back to the way I was living. At least if I wanted to keep on living. And because I love life, I knew that getting into the land, working with it, and then reaping the benefits of the fruit of it are the way to go forward. And so I just want to share that with as many people as possible and share with them the real possibilities of being creative on your land because there's so many different types of gold that can be drawn from the green. So many different type of green that can turn into gold. And so it's really just a passion of mine to get the information out so folks can take advantage of their opportunities and see what they can do as opposed to trying to run races where they can't win and can't do.
And that's a nugget, folks.
Uh-oh. I got the first nugget, y'all.
Yes, we got the first nugget. Now, what is green gold? Green gold is anything, as I said, you can grow, create, and cultivate. And what we want to do is we want to show people that you're going to be able to grow something, then you're going to be able to make something, and then you're going to be able to take it to market. And by doing those three things, you'll be able to enhance your life from a wellness point, enhance your financial life, and at the same time, create a legacy.
Yeah,
Those things
man.
can be accomplished that way.
It'll be a whole holistic treatment, you know. So we give you a full body treatment, full mind treatment, and it's something that is easily repeatable. And once you get going with it, it's really almost becomes like a self fulfilling prophecy in the sense that you get the benefit. It's so good, and you really have no option but to just keep going forward. It's like imagine you found a money tree.
Yeah,
Would you get your first batch of money and never go back?
that's right.
No, you would say, okay, the money tree, that's where it's at. Let me do what I can to take care of this tree. Maybe see if it can give me some more money.
That's right.
And it just keeps on giving you more and more and more in so many different ways. And you'll see that when we were talking about money, we just talking about basically well being and like taking care of yourself. And it manifests in many different forms. But the most relevant one to most folks is money. And that
That's,
does come too.
that's right. Traditional farming, backyard gardening, homesteading, handmade products, value added to products, and small business opportunities. All these things are going to be addressed. Even we're going to be talking about music. We're going to be talking about sports. We're going to be talking about politics because all those things are intertwined in farming. Because if you're doing events, for instance, and you have whether you're doing a workshop or whether you're doing farming classes or whether you're doing an actual event where people are going to perform or they're going to sell products, you're going to have the politician involved. You're going to have musicians involved. You're going to have the medical society involved. So everything is intertwined. It's just that it's intertwined, and we're going to have to put the pieces together to make a really good puzzle. And Coach B, why don't you go ahead and tell the folks, why you decided to get involved in this kind of thing.
Well, when I got married about almost 20 years ago now, me and my wife decided that we wanted to really take care of ourselves and kind of take control of what we were eating because we were watching documentaries and getting information and just seeing that the things that we were eating and buying from the store and the traditional lifestyle just wasn't really it wasn't made for us. It wasn't made with our well-being in mind. It was made with profit in mind, and we was more concerned about our well-being because my wife was pregnant and we wanted our son to have the best opportunity possible to live the best life. So we was living on a golf course where we basically couldn't grow anything on because we lived on a fairway. So our backyard was the golf course, and our front yard, because we live in a condo, we weren't allowed to grow food because all of our foliage had to match the condo foliage. And so we basically had like a little small garden with some different potted plants and herbs, and started getting fines. You know, basically our green was taking away our goal because we was basically breaking the rules.
Yeah, those
And so
HOAs, they don't want you to
yeah,
do any
they
of that stuff.
everything had to be shrubbery and stuff that you couldn't really do anything but look at. And so we decided that we had to get out of that environment so we could take control of our lives. And we also wanted to have our own business. It wasn't a farming business, but still we wanted to have our own business and living within the city, within the condo. We weren't allowed to have our business at our own home, and we didn't have the money to go and rent somewhere else while we was trying to pay our own rent. So we found some land, moved out to the country in the middle of a drought, and it was green out there. And like I say that was about 15, 16 years ago. And ever since then, things have just gotten better and better. And we learned how to take what we learned to work off of the land and turn that into business as well as just having our own business. And one of the real things I'll tell you now is that as you learn these things, because there are so many folks who don't know them, just the knowledge of itself can be used to teach others, and there's business right there, let alone with actually the growing and things of that nature. So we just basically wanted to take control of our lives and our experience, and by getting back to the land and learning from it, it has given us total control, and we love it. So we ain't going back.
Great, great. Because those are some great points. I hope you guys out there are really listening to what's going on here because this is real. This is not just for clicks. This is not just for the window dressing so that you can think that homesteading and small business and farming it's easy and it's just something that you just happen to do. Because what has happened is we have a large part of society that are in the so-called homesteading business where they show you they grow some chickens and they show you they grow some corn, but the majority of what they eat comes from the supermarket.
Yeah,
They don't have any. We're going to have to address things like if you have chickens, are you growing food to feed the chickens? And that also can turn into a business for you at the same time. And at the same time, if you're having a business, are you a business minded person so that you're actually running your business in a way that it will be profitable for you and make a difference in your life, or you just happen to use a job to fund what you're doing and you're not even aware of how much money you're spending, what it's costing you, or is it very effective at all? So those are some of the things that we're going to be talking about on the Green Gold podcast, and it's going to be different. It has to be different because there's going to be shots sometimes where we might have to be outside in our gardens on our
oh yeah.
land to show certain things. But for right now, what we want to do is we want to be welcomed by you and welcome you so that we can work cohesively and achieve something as far as information and then move on to the next thing, which is going to be how we held ourselves accountable and achieve something and not just talk.
Yeah. No, I definitely think that it's very, very important that y'all see us in the fields, in our fields, because that's where it all happens, really. We can sit here at this table and talk and talk and talk and give you information and read stuff to you and interview folks and all that. But until you see us actually doing it, then it's going to be hard to believe that we really do it. And you'll get so much more from seeing it versus just hearing us talk about it, because then you'll get inspiration and see, well, hey, you know what? I see those guys out there doing that. Why can't I try it? Because you can definitely do it. Because, like I told you in the beginning, I was not a farmer. Now, my family, generations ago, they were farmers for sure. But the past three generations, we have been nothing, nowhere near farmers. Living in apartments, living in houses with yards full of grass. You know what I'm saying? Not even thinking about growing no food, to where now we still have a yard full of grass, but also a lot of food growing around it. So I think making that transition and knowing that it's not bigger than you, it's not over your head. It's just a matter of you not focusing on it and then not believing that it's for you. And I
Hmm.
think once you change that
Hmm.
mindset, it's almost like kind of the rain just starts flowing and everything starts happening. and then all of a sudden you don't even know how you got to where you are. You're just there, enjoying and sharing and loving. But real quick, former Mark, tell us how you got into this whole thing because you definitely have a real inspiring story that I think the folks will definitely get something out of.
Okay. Well, how we got into this is I've I've always wanted to be Superman. Okay,
Hey,
and
hey.
I was in the military, and when I was doing push-ups and sit-ups and running, I was still getting limitations. I had shin splints. I could only run so much.
Hmm,
My endurance would run out when I'm doing push-ups. I want to always max out. I mean, the best I ever did was I did 79 push-ups once.
hmm.
Eight was it 82 sit-ups, and I ran the 2 miles in 12 minutes and 9 seconds.
Okay.
And in my head, I thought that I could do better. I always thought that I could do better. I mean, I was performing above average, but
Mm-hmm.
I still wanted to be the best. And what I realized was my health was limiting at that time. And when I got out of the military, I was able to delve more into. I worked with some companies, a company like Shackley, who was deeply into vitamins and minerals, and
Okay.
I learned how those things were made, and when they put a lot of binders in the food and all that, what makes the food break down, not break down, that kind of thing. And it was very important to have learned those things. But even though I was associated with all these great products and all this great manufacturing, I was still not getting the results that I wanted to get. I also tried the whole organic thing. I tried the whole vegan thing, and I still wasn't getting the kind of production that I wanted. Well, at one point, I had a friend of mine that I used to take a martial arts class with, and he told me of this guy named Dr. Sabi. And I started watching his videos, and I was so convinced when I saw him that he had something special that I had not heard or experienced, that I, jumped on a plane and went to Honduras to go see this man myself. Now, I didn't know that he wasn't going to wait whether he was there or not, because when I got there, they were like, "Man, you're lucky he's here because normally he's not here." But anyway, I spent a few weeks there, experienced the village, the Usha village. But what was the main catalyst of what I wanted was I got to sit down and talk to this man and pick his brain a lot. And when I was there, when you started telling me about what was happening with the food, I realized that I would have to take a deeper dive than I had already done before. It was going to take more than just what I could get at the store. I was going to have to do something else. And one of the things that happened why I knew that this was the way to go was because when I came back, my prescription lens used to be twice as thick as what it is now. And when I got back, I was able to see better with the same prescription that I went to Honduras with. The things that my eyes were getting a little blurry, and I was trying to figure out why. And when he told me about what was happening with the food, and when I came back after using, just using the herbs and the hot springs there and all of that, when I came back, I saw that my vision had improved. So because my vision had improved, I knew that what he was talking about had to be the truth, because the ophthalmologist and the optician told me that this was all age related and it wasn't going to change. It's the results that matter. And that is so true. So when I got back and I started implementing what he was talking about with the burdock root and the yellow root, and then I started really looking at how things really get to you. They have to be sprayed, they have to be irradiated. You don't know what quality you're really getting. I said, you know what? We're gonna have to do something else. And we started looking for land. Now, where I lived, the land was very expensive. I'm in Florida, but and not everywhere in Florida the land is cheap. So we started looking around, and at the same time, we started implementing using the herbs and trying what he had talked about, and it really improved energy. It really improved my endurance. It really improved my overall life. I was sleeping better, and my wife was experiencing the same thing. So we started because we started improving so much. We had people started asking us, "Hey, what are you doing?" I guess they noticed the change.
Definitely,
People see
definitely.
you rocking and rolling. They want, why you look so happy. Why you're talking about this. Why you're doing these things. And when I realized that, they started wanting to be, they were interested. What we did was we started making some teas with some of the herbs. But then when we started doing that and people started buying it, they were like, "Man, you need to really teach some people about this because people want to know." And we said, okay, well, we're not really, 100% all the way into what we're doing yet. We're just learning now and starting to experience what we're doing. So we decided, well, how could we improve that? And what we did was we started looking around for land. And we eventually did find some land that we could afford a few years later. But in the meantime, I had done away with all the vitamins and all the organics and all that stuff. And I really just started looking for local farmers around the area that were growing their food so that I could get my hands on better quality food and eat
Fresh
more of
food,
that.
huh?
Yes, fresher foods because fresher foods do matter. You
Yes,
know, a
sir.
squash grown in your garden compared to a squash that's been grown in Mexico and shipped, 2, 3 thousand miles. It's been through several warehouses before it finally gets to you. It makes a difference. And man, what a difference it has made to bring us to this point where we now have the Green Gold podcast, something that I had only just faintly visioned years ago.
Hmm. Yeah, man. That's a beautiful story, and that's just a small like what they call the Cliff Notes version of that. You know what I'm saying? But it really just gets to the meat or the gist of the whole podcast, which is finding something, researching it, and the best thing that I love about that story, Farmer Mark, is that you saw something and you just went and took the next step to go find it for yourself because you knew that if you took those steps, that you would actually get something for it, get like a benefit going down to Honduras, not knowing if the man was there or not, and he turned up, he was there. Well, he was there because you was there to see him. You know what I'm saying? And I think people need to realize that if you're standing on the sidelines wondering, should I, or what's going to happen if you start to take those steps with like the right intention, it's almost like the yellow brick road just rolls out for you, and things that shouldn't happen and don't normally happen for you in those situations because you're going towards the right thing. You're working with the universe. They could they even say, and so that's just a beautiful story. And hopefully one day we'll hear more about it because that's the basis of this whole thing is seeing something, identifying an issue, and then taking action. You gotta take action because, as we know,
It's the results that matter.
yeah, man.
Yes. Yes, and now that you mentioned that, I didn't even think about it that way, but it was something that I just had to do. I just felt like I had to do it because listen, I tried, and when they talk about trying, and I'm not talking about I did something for a week, 2 weeks, maybe a month, maybe 2 months. No, I put effort into 6 months, a year. I mean, I delved into what exactly can I experience with all this
Hmm.
stuff that they're telling us, all these nutritionists are telling us, all these, the people who are making all these wonderful, herb teas and all this stuff, and that you can get in a supermarket, that you can get at your Whole Food store, or whatever stores you're going to use. I mean, I even had to look at the place where I went to buy herbs. The lady who was supposed to be the herbal expert, she couldn't walk straight. And I'm looking at her saying to myself, there must be something wrong here because she's supposed to be living the life that I want. And I looked
Yeah,
at her. She's the herbalist. She's supposed to make me well,
yeah.
but I don't want to be her.
I mean, that's how I felt about doctors. Is I'm going to like the doctor's office, and I go in there, and they look bad. And the thing that really got me
They're so
about the whole
stressed.
thing, they're stressed out. Is one time I was there taking my kid in there, and like he had a rash, and so the lady was trying to figure out what kind of rash it was, and she said, "Well, hold on, let me go back and look at my books." And I said, "Well, damn, can I have the books? You know what I mean? I can read." And so like that was just like a real kind of moment for me where I was like, these people just sitting here like they don't even know what's going on. And I mean, they really shouldn't because they don't know you. Like that was maybe her second time ever seeing my son. So how could she really know him versus me who I see him every day? I know what he eats. I know what's going into his body.
Mhm.
And so that means that like we have the responsibility and even more the capability of taking care of ourselves if we pay attention and think about it as like it's what we should be doing and it's our duty, then it becomes easier to kind of take those steps that it's not hard. It's just a matter of changing your perspective and going towards it and finding value in caring for yourself. And
and
and go
and
ahead.
that I mean, that is amazing and is so true because we have given, people, they've just given themselves to the man in the white coat. And I'm not and the man in the white coat does play an important role. But
Big
what
time.
happens is I've experienced people over the years where they talk about my doctor as if he's their lover.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
they're, you would think that they have a closer. Listen, it's funny is people. will hear and do what their doctor tells them over their own husbands or
Oh
wives.
yeah. Oh yeah.
And,
Definitely.
and I'm
Yeah.
saying, how do you trust someone who their whole being is not about your well being?
Yeah.
It's a business that they're running, and they're running it as best as they possibly can. But people, for some strange reason, think that the doctor spends the weekend worrying about
About
their
that.
situation. They don't care about you. You're just a
Nah.
number.
And
And
you just
and
gotta
I'm
think about how long did you wait to see that doctor? You know what I'm saying? How many other appointments they had back to back to back to back to back? You know.
exactly. And listen, and none of those doctors ever say, "Hey, look, we appreciate you so much that you can come see me anytime, even if you don't have any money or any insurance."
Hey.
Okay, you gotta pay every time you go to see him.
Yeah.
So how could this person really care about you as much as you do? And but I mean, I hear people, just saying, "Oh, my doctor, my doctor, my doctor," and I'm saying, look, your doctor, he does play an important role in helping to keep things right, but he doesn't think of you the same way. And you really need to think about yourself more importantly than worry about what the doctor says. And the other thing too is which is really great that I hear. It's just amazing that the doctor tells the people you can't eat anything green. You can't eat anything, with this kind of skin or that kind of skin, or you can't drink any juices, but you can take all these
Pills you want?
medications.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, well, how is it that you can take all these medications, but you can't eat anything natural? So we're not only going to have to address some of those things, we're going to have to show you what to do to recover from the prescription drug. How would I put it? The rope that's around your neck concerning that. Because think about it, for instance, if the drugstore closed down and the doctor's office closed down, what would you do
Mm.
to survive?
Yeah.
And people don't seem to take that into they don't seem to take that into consideration, that that's another world that is not controlled by you. So how are you going to be able to overcome all those? And we will talk about those things, because we're not saying you shouldn't go see your doctor, because many
Definitely
of you
not.
need to go see your doctor. Why? Because you're so cruel to yourselves.
Yeah.
You eat garbage every day, no matter what I tell you. I mean, I did a fair, a health fair one time with a community, and we showed them how you could use, instead of using wheat and corn and stuff, you could use spelt and kamut to make pasta and breads, and those were far more nutritionally dense for you, and they weren't as refined, so you could get much better results. And my wife, she made some meals, and it was fantastic. The people were saying, "Oh my gosh, this is so good, this is so good, oh, it's so good." And then the very next week, um, some nurses and health practitioners had a health conference, and what they served was macaroni and cheese and barbecued, chicken, loaded with all the barbecued corn syrup stuff, and the fake cheese and the wheat, pasta. And I'm saying, how I don't get it. One week we're doing something healthy, and then the next week we're right back to where we started. So we're gonna talk about how we can really change that perspective also, so that we can help you to get to where you need to go. And we're actually going to be getting our hands dirty, because I get my hands dirty. The herbs that we grow, the raw material that we use for all our supplements at junglelifeherbs.com, we grow them so that we can have the best quality, high quality. As a matter of fact, you can follow me on junglelifeherbs.com on TikTok or Instagram, Farmer Mark on Instagram. And you can also check us out on Facebook, because people, we're going to show you how to make a difference. So the only people who are not going to make a difference in their lives are the people who are right now going to tell us, I don't want to make a difference in my life. I just want to continue to be um, you know, lacking energy. I want to continue to have rashes. I want to continue to be constipated. I want to continue to not make any money.
I
I just
know.
want to continue to have a horrible life.
And like nobody's gonna honestly say that, but that's how you live every day, you know. And so I don't want anybody to get the wrong idea because we're definitely not trying to sit on no perch and be holier than anybody.
Exactly.
It's just a matter of fact of knowing that.
It's the results that matter.
And if you're not taking the right action to get the right results, then you are saying that you don't care about those things because you do have the choice. You know, we all have a choice. We may not feel like it, or it may feel like maybe the choice is too big, but I guarantee you, as you age or as you go through your experience and you're not feeling good and you start to feel worse and worse and worse, you're going to wish that you did make that choice. And so our goal is to show you that making that choice is worth it. And the last thing I'll say about this whole thing is that we was just talking about gold just now. Taking care of your body, being healthy, knowing how to take care of yourself versus having to run to the healthcare person as soon as something happens and then wait 2 weeks before you can actually get in there to see him. Things like that. That's not taking care of yourself. And when you can be freed from that system, that's gold. I mean, that's something that you can have the rest of your life and actually have life with. So green gold, like I said, it definitely comes in more than just money. You know, there's so many benefits that just they're innumerable, and it's all yours. It's a matter of taking your time and going for it and being disciplined and taking the responsibility for living. I think that's the biggest thing: taking responsibility for your own life.
That's right. Because we are right now, people, we are living in the best times of history for small growers to
Oh yeah,
connect with customers. So, right now, if you really want to make a change, you can get in touch with people who are growing their own chickens, people who are growing their own beef, people who are growing goats, people who are growing sheep, people who are growing more, no more vegetables. There's this before. This was a hobby. It's much better now. Things are far more, spread to the point where it's going to touch you. You can't avoid it. The only people who are avoiding it are the people who want to avoid it. So we're going to be talking about, food security. Your groceries are rising and you're waiting for them to come down. Listen, you start paying for, $5, $6 for a loaf of bread. The the grocery store is not going to lower the price back to $3, even if
mm-hmm.
they've figured out a way to do that. Even if the price
Why
of
would they?
gas
You
has
know,
gone down, yeah, they're not going to do it. So guess what's going to happen is you're going to have to figure out how you're going to match your income with the current status quo so that you can afford to eat. And we're gonna look at that. We're gonna show you how you can simply grow some stuff and offset your bills. Simply grow some stuff so that you can even make a product. Simply grow some stuff so that you can then take that to market. And before you know it, who knows? You might be the next Walmart. You never know.
and
Okay.
and knowing also that the same way that you can follow Farmer Mark on social media or you can follow Crafty Gemini
Hmm.
Farms on all the same platforms.
Hmm.
There's a farmer somewhere near you right now that if you just take a look. You can find them, connect with them, and start to get fresh foods of all different kinds. But you have to take that step. You know, the same way when you move to like a new town, you got to find where the Publix is and find where your grocery store, find where this is. If you take that time to find where your people are who are out there, because honestly, outside of even most big cities, if you go about 10, 15 miles out, you're gonna find farmers because that's what the
That's true.
majority of folks are.
That's true.
Especially in a place like Florida, you know, what I mean, most of Florida is agricultural based, and not just oranges. You know, I mean, we can't really grow too many oranges no more because we got,
Oh, we lost that
yeah,
market.
that's
We
that's
lost that
gone. You
market.
know,
But
but
we're going to change that so that you
mhm,
can know what else you can grow because there's a whole lot
yeah,
of other
I
things
mean,
that you can grow.
it's limitless. You know, what I mean, I think that's the real thing to really be aware of is that it's limitless, and like the powers that be want you to feel limited because then that makes you not do anything, and just lets you wait for their next move to kind of put you further and further in the grave while you're still living. But if you can see that there's just all you have to do is take a look outside. You know, if you look and see on some concrete and see the little grass popping up through concrete, that should tell you right there that number one, the plants want to live, they want to be grown, and that it's hard to stop them.
That's
And so
right.
you just got to get on their side and work with them and see that once you learn that it's hard to stop them, then it becomes hard to stop you. And that's our goal. Because that food security thing is a real big deal. And I would say that as the prices go up, then you're gonna have to have more energy to like buy that food because you have to make more money. And if you're not getting fed with nutrient dense stuff, where's the energy gonna come from? Where's the money gonna come from? And so you're gonna be worse and worse off. So it's worth it. It's a personal investment even to look at ways to get connected with your local folks, get better food for yourself. And even if in the short term it feels like it costs more, these days it doesn't. I mean, like I was getting some eggs from my local farmers market, and the lady who sells the cleanest eggs around, $5 a dozen. I went to the store the other day to, and now if I want to buy just the regular eggs, I can get them for like $1.50 a dozen, but that's not even an egg, you know what I'm saying?
And sometimes
But
it's fake.
yeah, exactly. But the supposedly nicer eggs, the certified organic, cage free, all the labeled ones, they were 8, 9, $10 per dozen in the store versus at the farmers market from a lady who I know, who I can go on Instagram and see her in her fields with her chickens, $5. So it was cheaper to go find somebody local than to go to the store to purchase organic, and also knowing that that organic stuff only has to be, I believe, 70%.
No, it's less than that.
Less, less, less,
Less
less
than
than
that.
that.
Less than
Less
that.
than that.
And it
So, like,
doesn't.
imagine that. I mean, it only has to be half organic, and they're gonna charge you twice the price, and
Exactly.
and be feeding you the same thing. And it's not that these people are. I don't want to judge them any kind of way,
I
but
wouldn't say
just
they're being
as
dishonest.
a
Yeah,
business person, if you could do that, and I mean that was your business, why wouldn't you? You know what I'm
exactly.
saying? I mean, like, if that was your
Shortcuts are going to
goal.
be taken.
So then that tells you that don't even take it personal. Just take your life personally, and take
Yes.
take your well being personally, and just do better. You don't even have to trash anybody. Just say, look, I'm just trying to do the best
Yes.
by me.
We're
That's
not,
what it's
yeah.
all about.
We're not here to fight with anybody
No,
about
no,
changing the system. The system's going to be the same.
no. Yeah,
The change has to come with you because that's what happened. The change came with me. The change came with, Brandon, and we're going to make sure that when we get our idea across to you, that you can make a change yourself. If you're waiting for, Publix or Walmart or Whole Foods or Amazon or anybody to change to suit you, it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen because that's not their business model.
yeah.
Their business model is not to cater, solely to you. They're going to cater to the over 300 million people that live here. So what you're going to have to do is if you want some special results, you're going to have to treat yourself as special.
That's
So
it.
we're going to be addressing growing market trends, how you're going to look at what you can do yourself that will make the difference with your health, with your pocket, and with your family and your legacy, because you have to create a legacy. And that is going to be something that is going to be really special when we start getting people who will be accountable and be able to do some of the things that we're talking about. But if you follow us on social media, you will see that we're not playing around. And what we're going to do now is address some of the things so you can grow with us, because we're not just growing the ideas. We actually have to grow the effort now so that it can give you what's that the result. Because in the end, it's the results that matter. Okay, that's the result. So um, there's a lot of things that you can do right now before we go. Please definitely reach out and look for your local farmers markets, because farmers markets, believe it or not, they are becoming a thing where you're having more and more of them sprout up all over the place. We're located right now in Alachua County, Florida, and there's going to be several farmers markets. We have
I believe
farmers
there's about seven of them, seven like
about seven.
known ones.
Okay.
There's more than that, but there's seven kind of consistent ones that people know about.
Okay, and we're gonna be. I'm gonna be at Market on Main in Alachua. That's from 9 to 1 on Saturdays, and
Downtown on Main Street,
downtown Main Street.
right
Yes, and
next
you
to
can.
Bev's Burger.
That's right, right next to Bev's Burgers. You can come there and check us out, and we'll be able to talk to you and share some knowledge, and you'll be able to see what we do. There are other markets around that you can reach out to, but the most important thing is that we want you to start thinking about yourself as a life athlete, because you're not competing at the Olympics, and you're not competing in a any kind of a road race as a but you are competing in life. And as long as you're competing in life, you have to treat yourself as an athlete. And an athlete is very particular about what they do, what they eat, how much sleep they get, and many of those things. So we're going to have to make sure that you take yourself seriously as a life athlete. And just because you're watching this, you will realize that you have no choice now. You're a life athlete whether you want to be or not, because we're going to make sure that we keep reminding you of that. Right, Coach B?
Oh, definitely. That's why I call myself Coach B, and I haven't coached in like probably 4 or 5 years. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a life coach in the sense of like we all playing the game of life, trying to live better and get better and be better. But you have to see yourself as worthy of having the best, or else you're not going to take the steps. You're going to keep on feeding yourself crap because you don't value yourself. And it's nothing to even feel ashamed of, because we live in a culture where it's really hard to value
That's
yourself
right.
if you pay attention to the mass
That's
culture.
right.
But when you take that step out and see what that culture is really just about, death and dying and sickness, because there's a whole bunch of money to be made off of death, dying, and sickness, with the way that culture is set up. And when you step out of that and see other cultures, see other experiences that are all happening right around you, it's just a matter of where your focus is, then you can look at yourself as a life athlete. I like to look at myself as a business. And so I'm always trying to invest the best things in me so that I can keep on getting the best profits out of me. And my ultimate profit is my lifestyle. And
That's
like
right.
kind of what I'm able to do, how I'm able to do it, and the system I'm able to move in. And that all starts with me, number one, feeling good, putting good things into myself. Like, for instance, think about your car. I mean, are you going to put water in your gas tank? No, you know what I mean? Like certain cars, you got to put certain type of gas in it.
That's right.
Even if you drive uh, Tesla. You're gonna make sure that the power is surging right. So it doesn't mess your car up, because it's very very important to you. Even your cell phone. Are you gonna not charge that cell phone? You're gonna keep it charged up. I know folks that walk around with a whole wire and a plug in their pocket at all times. So the first plug they see, they plugging up because they have to have that battery charged. Well,
Hmm.
think about the battery that's carrying that whole phone. Like that's most valuable, because if you fall out, the phone's still gonna be there, but
That's right.
you are not charged up. So how can you charge yourself up? It all starts with you, your health, and what you do for yourself. And if you can value yourself that way, then these become easy choices to make, because you can see how the other way does not value you, because
It's the results that matter.
and the results aren't good. They just aren't if you're
Yes.
following that traditional lifestyle.
Yes. Yes. So people, get ready because we're gonna bring guests that are gonna be able to, give you information as to what they do. We're not gonna be talking about people who are thinking about doing stuff. We're gonna be showing you people who are actually doing something and they've grown it from the ground up. And they many of them will be people who have been doing things for years and they've done it
Yes,
well, so that you will be able to learn and duplicate the information that you're getting. Because people, when we say grow some food, I don't want you to grow one tomato plant and then, be happy that, oh, I got some
yeah,
tomatoes.
yeah.
No, you got to grow five, six, seven, a dozen tomato plants so that you have tomatoes, so that you can make tomato sauce, and then you can freeze tomato sauce. So that way, later on in the year, when the tomatoes are not producing, you still have actual sauce to use. You can freeze dry. You can vacuum seal all of the food that you're doing, you growing, so that you can continue to have food all year long. So those are some of the many things that we're going to be addressing, so that you can actually turn your life around and realize that you are more important than the dollar you're chasing.
Yes,
The dollar
yes,
is very important because it's a tool that we need to live our lives. But if you don't have the energy to chase the dollar, then guess what's going to happen? You're definitely going to get left behind. You're going to get run over by the rest of society that's chasing that dollar. So we want to make sure that while you're chasing, you're up to being in the race, and that you can compete and make sure that you survive and survive well.
definitely, definitely.
And that's a nugget, folks. All right. So, people, it was great being able to introduce ourselves to you. Please pay attention, Green Gold Podcast, and we will be reaching out to you every which way we possibly can, bringing you every bit of information, bringing you the. We want to make you as determined as you can be, so that you can do and be all that you can be, no matter what. And it's going to be a great journey, a great journey.
A
Thank you
worthy
for
journey.
listening. Thank you
Thank you for
for
your
checking
time,
us out. We really appreciate that. And we will be back again.
and we'll see you next time.
Very well.